Hi, you guys. I'm Phil Town from Rule 1 Investing, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about understanding a business, or if you took all the businesses you understood, that would create something we call a circle of competence. So here's the basic idea. Invest in what you understand, right? Sounds simple. Shouldn't everybody be investing in what they understand? I mean, that's pretty obvious. But the thing is, it's usually an overlooked factor. I would say the vast majority of mutual funds invest in stuff they don't understand. It's overlooked because a lot of investors feel they can make money in any company, doesn't really matter. They just try to figure out, whether they think is going to go up. Whether it aligns with their values never comes into the picture at all, much less whether they understand it. And while it's true you can profit from a company, you could get lucky and buy something and it goes up, even if it isn't in your circle of competence. Doing so is a lot more difficult to do it consistently, right? Making money consistently ultimately is really about understanding the businesses and making sure that you're staying well away from that area where you start to not understand what you're buying. And if you focus on companies where they really have a good value set that's connected to yours, you're going to understand and appreciate them even more. Now, I think your circle of competence kind of is a little bit hard to define, so let me give it a shot here. For me, my circle of competence is connected by things I'm passionate about, things I'm talented in, things that I make money at, things I spend money on. These are all areas that are personal to me and help build my circle of competence. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. For you, maybe it's the industry you're working in. I mean, that's a really, like if you're a teacher, you're in the education industry, that may be a great place to start right there, right? Or maybe it's a hobby that you're really into. I've got friends of mine who love to do clay pigeon kinds of shooting, competitive shooting, sporting clays, trap shooting. So there's a hobby that they're passionate about, and there are a number of companies that are public companies which make products that fit into that hobby. I mean, one of the most obvious one is sunglasses, right? So maybe you work for a company that is producing certain kinds of things. Maybe you're spending your money in a certain kind of place. Maybe you have a certain kind of passion. So these things all are what we look at to start to create what we call our circle of competence. You reflect on your own experience, and then you make the decisions about what's inside that circle based on your personal confidence level that you understand that stuff. Now, investing within your circle of competence, what that means is just putting your money in companies that you really understand, and for my personal values, that I'm proud of. I really want my kids to like what I own. I feel like I should walk my talk, right? So Warren Buffett is a really good example. I love Warren. And what he does is he invests in Coca-Cola, okay? So much of the reason behind his investment in Coca-Cola is that he really likes Coca-Cola, right? He appreciates the company, he enjoys their products, he drinks a lot of Coca-Cola, like 6 or 7 or 8 cans a day of Coca-Cola. So Buffett's a big fan on all the levels. He loves the company's values. He thinks it's great to produce something that makes people smile. He loves the product itself. It makes him smile. Well, what about all the other aspects of Coca-Cola? That it produces, soft drinks that are full of sugar and could be an important part of creating onset of diabetes and childhood obesity. What about that side? It doesn't bother Buffett. He thinks it's a personal decision. And so Coke falls within his values and certainly within a circle of competence. For me, I feel very comfortable that I can understand Coca-Cola well enough, but I'm not real passionate about drinking Coke, right? It's a habit that I got when I was a kid, and I tried hard to break it. So having me invest in Coca-Cola would like be having an alcoholic invest in Jim Beam or something. It's just completely violates my value system. So I love this guy. I think he's a great investor in the world, and yet I don't want to buy that particular company. Now, let me give you another example. I'm a fan of motorcycles, so I'm out researching and investing in Harley-Davidson, right? Early days. totally natural choice for me. Harley-Davidson is a company that's well within my circle of competence. I understand their business more easily. I enjoyed learning about them. I'm happy to have owned the company. Why is that? Because I ride them. I've built a number of Harleys. I've owned a Harley-Davidson company called Diamondback that did tours for people from Europe to come over and ride a Harley out through Monument Valley and down into Mexico. And we ultimately sold that company to the largest Harley-Davidson rental company in the world, Eagle Rider. So this circle of competence is critical. And the thing is, if you've been around in the world for 20 years, if you, as an adult, right, you've developed a much larger circle of competence than you probably would ever realize. And you'll be so surprised how many companies are in there already that you already know a lot about. Now, if you want to learn more about your own circle of competence, and what I'm going to suggest is that you click the link on the screen and then just download my free 3-circle exercise guide. It's a really good guide. It's going to help you go in the right direction. It's going to help you see that there are a lot of industries and businesses that you already understand a lot about just from being alive a while. Now, the best thing about investing in your circle of competence is that everybody's interests and values are different. The companies that appeal to you, just like with me and Warren Buffett, might be completely different than the companies that appeal to me. So while we're saying get companies that you value, we're not saying be a certain kind of social justice warrior, right? This isn't taking a stand on something about saying, oh, this is a good company for you or a bad company for you. What freedom is all about, what liberty is all about, is the ability to make those kinds of choices. And right now, if you're not investing your own money, you're not making those choices for yourself. Somebody else is making them. And I think you should. I think you should pick companies that you're really interested in and that you understand, even if the values are different than mine. I'm all for it. And that means if you do that, you'll take this approach to investing that's uniquely suited to you and your interests. And I'm telling you, there's no better way to be deep into this than that. When you invest within your circle of competence, what you do is you ensure that you're only purchasing companies that match your values and that you understand. Investing inside your circle of competence, staying away from that edge where you may not know if you know or not, right? If that makes sense to you. All right, we'll just clarify that. We want to make sure we know that we don't know, right? We know that we don't know. That's pretty easy. Okay, I don't know about Intel or something. But the difficult stuff is when we don't know, we don't know. That's the gray area on the circle where we get in trouble. So we want to stay where we know we know. That's the key to the circle of competence. So investing with this circle makes researching the companies in your portfolio a lot easier, a lot less of a chore, a lot more enjoyable. And finally, investing in your values means you can be really proud of yourself about the way you use your money, about the way that money's going in the world. Right now, you're not completely in charge, I would say. Right now, other people are making those decisions for you. And maybe you should take charge of that and make the world a better place. There's something to be said about aligning your money with your values and your interests. It's not only an important part of successful investing, it's an important part of being an adult. It's an important part of being a valuable citizen in our country. And it's an important part of a life well lived. Your circle of competence isn't something that's set in stone, by the way, right? Just because you were all about things over here and, 20 years ago doesn't mean you got to stay there with your values. Certainly you grow, your values grow and change. But also, your circle of competence starts here, very narrow. We call it like a metaphor would be sort of like a narrow canyon, right? An inch wide and a mile deep. So you don't want to necessarily limit yourself to just that one industry that you're really good at, and you won't. You just naturally won't. As you start to explore that industry or that one company even, just finding out what its competitors are doing means almost inevitably that they're doing things that are a little gonna widen that canyon if you understand them. So if you're like really into peanut butter and you're really into a company that does peanut butter, then part of doing the research on peanut butter is to find out what's the process of selling peanut butter to the public. And you're going to find yourself at Kroger's and at Whole Foods and at Sysco, S-I-S-C-O, which is a company that distributes these things out to places like restaurants. So you're going to discover that your world inevitably grows in understanding. Just start from the narrowest little place, Focus on one thing very tightly and then expand it naturally as you do your research and learn more about that world. So when you begin investing, there's going to be a chances that there's a few areas you really know a lot about, and that's where you start. And then as you continue, your circle of competence will grow naturally. You don't have to push it. It will push itself just by you doing good research into adjacent areas, adjacent industries, competitive companies. Those weren't on your radar in the beginning, but now they are. So in many ways, expanding your circle of competence just is a natural thing. You don't have to try to do it, right? As you live your life, your interests will change and expand. As you learn about investing, as you learn about these companies, your investing strategy will expand with it. Very easy to do. Expanding your circle of competence just naturally comes from research. So for example, let me do this. Let's say you're interested in motorcycles. You decide to research Harley-Davidson like me. As you learn everything there is to know about the company, you're also going to be learning about the automobile industry, right? Because why? Well, because Harley is a vehicle. It gets people from A to B. So who do they compete with? Well, other vehicles that get people from A to B. So your research is then able to expand your circle of competence. That's going to include companies like Polaris. They make a motorcycle, they make ATVs. John Deere, who makes ATVs like Gators that competes with the Polaris. And then they have tractors. And then you're doing tractors, you're going to end up, right? You see how this goes. So it's really important to note that patience and dedication, those are pretty key when researching companies. You want to go real deep into those areas of your circle of competence where you start. Go as deep as you can, and that will naturally expand your circle of competence. So understanding a new industry right off the bat isn't going to be the easiest thing that you ever did. It doesn't mean it isn't worth the effort. If you single out a company that appeals to you and you dedicate yourself to learning everything there is to know about that company, man, it's entirely possible for you to understand the company inside out, even if it seems a little confusing in the beginning. I'd love it if you just trust me here and just believe me that every one of you can do this. It does take time, okay, I'll buy that. And if there's anything that's too tough to understand about the company, which sometimes there is, then guess what? You're not going to break your head over this and not be an investor because this company's too hard to understand. You just pick the company up right here. Here's the company work I'm doing. You pick it up and you stick it over in the too hard box. Buffett's got one on his desk. I've got one on mine. Put one on yours. Most things go in it. Oh, we're working on this and now I don't understand it. Okay, it goes in the too hard bucket. And then just move to something else. The best companies for us, these are investors like you and me, are really simple companies. It should be easy to understand how the company makes its profit. And we want them to be really easy to run because we want it to be easy enough that an idiot could run it. That's really the basis of it. That's how simple we want the company. Because maybe someday an idiot will. So we got to be sure the company can be run well. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What industries do you understand really well that you think are in your circle of competence? Where would you start? Where would you begin? If you narrowed it down as tight as you could, where'd be the one place you would start? And from that one seed, you can grow an amazing forest. So leave a comment below with your answer and I'll be sure to follow up with you guys. And thanks for watching. Now go play. If you enjoyed this video and you feel it was valuable in teaching you more about understanding companies' circle of competence, hit the like button and please share this video with your friends. And if you want more investing content, subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the button on the screen for a free gift. So thanks again for watching.